السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. Alhamdulillah, I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, all praise due to Allah. We seek the aid and assistance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek forgiveness from Allah. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala min shururi anfusina, from any evil and corruption found within ourselves, min sayyiati a'malina, many corruption or evil found within ourselves. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, there's no one or nothing that can lead that person astray. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leads astray, there's no one or nothing that can guide that person. I bear witness that there's no God that is worshipped that has the right to that worship except for Allah. He's alone in that right and does not share that right with anyone or anything in his creation. And I bear witness that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is indeed the slave of Allah and his messenger. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He's a slave of Allah and he's his messenger. As we proceed, inshallah ta'ala, with our topic, which is some advice to the sisters or to the women of Islam or the women in general. The first one, to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to reach another Ramadan. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to reach another Ramadan. And we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those people who enter into this month sincerely, mukhliseen, and that He make us of those individuals who enter into this month with tranquility and peace, and a desire to spend this month as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions used to spend this month. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the love of the siyam, the love of the qiyam, and the love of the qira'at al-Qur'an, tadabbur al-Qur'an in our hearts, and make it so that that love manifests itself on our limbs. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who benefit from this month, and that this month and our worship in this month is a hujjah for us and not against us, and that He save us from any riyā, showing off, and from any insincerity. So with that, our topic, and again, just in case anybody didn't know, we start our siyam tomorrow as a moon, alhamdulillah, wasn't sighted, so we made Sha'ban 30 days. We're completing the 30th day of Sha'ban now. We begin our siyam tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. So we had some advice to the sisters, but it's not the advice that maybe a lot of people were expecting, because a lot of times when we say advice to the sisters or class for the sisters or something, everyone is expecting to hear a particular cluster of information. Now, the information is tremendous. Those ayat, of course, from the book of Allah, the speech of Allah, and those hadith from the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are tremendous. They're tremendous. Barakallahu fikum. They're tremendous in their specifying a woman or their specific address to the women. They're tremendous. And their general address, and their tremendous, Allahu Akbar, and their specific advice or commandments or encouragements to the women. What Allah revealed, what He taught, where he spoke subhanahu wa ta'ala directly to the women, they're tremendous. And we're not trying to downplay it. And of course, Subhanallah, Subhanallah, tabarak wa ta'ala amma yaqulun. We'll never do that. Rather, what we're saying is that we want to not limit the women only to those ayat and those ahadith, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran for the benefit of the human being, for the benefit of the human being, lihidayat al-bashar, for the guidance of mankind. So sometimes when women are advised, they're advised with these tremendous ayat and these tremendous ahadith, and that is the only advice that some people may believe is for them. No, there's advice, the entire book of Allah and the entire Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the understanding of those companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wallahi, that's for the women too. So I'm not gonna focus on those ayat and those ahadith specifically and restrictedly this evening, bismillah tabarak wa ta'ala. Rather, we want our advice to be from a different angle. Okay, and that is some advice from Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah, that we have advised the masses and our communities with on multiple occasions. It is some advice that if a person understands it and they put everything in its proper context and they understand the proofs and the evidences behind that advice or connected to that advice, that the person, inshallah, male or female, but in this case specifically our sisters, they will find that their lives would change drastically. They will find that their lives change drastically, and their understanding of Islam and the way they practice Islam and the way they contextualize the ayat and the ahadith and the way they prioritize them will find a different level of benefit and a different level of development. Now, for Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, فانظر رحمك الله كل من سمعت كلامه من أهل زمانك خاصة فلا تعجلن ولا تدخلن في شيء منه حتى تسأل وتنظر هل تكلم فيه أحد من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ورضي الله عنهم أو أحد من العلماء، فإن أصبت فيه أثرا عنهم فتمسك به ولا تجاوزه لشيء ولا تختر عليه شيئا فتسقط في النار. Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah ta'ala, and this tremendous piece of advice. And Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah is from the students of Imam Ahmed. He is from the students of Imam Ahmed rahimahullah. He didn't learn, he wasn't a direct student of Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala, but he was a student of those who were direct students of Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala. And this tremendous piece of advice, which our scholars have saw so beneficial, they saw it to be so beneficial that they took time out to expound on it, to explain it. This book that he wrote called Sharh Sunnah, okay, that has to do with the creed and the doctrine of the Muslim, the thing that keeps the Muslim intact, the thing that keeps the Muslim in check, the thing that keeps the Muslim on the right path, keeps him sustained and focused properly, is his creed, his belief system. Those things that keep him grounded, it's his creed and his belief system. You'll find a lot of people who are nutty and have problems, and we're talking about non-clinical problems, people who choose the wrong things. They have the ability, there's nothing wrong with them. They don't have a chemical imbalance that they're struggling with. Okay, they didn't go through some kind of traumatic experience, a car accident where their brain was, part of their brain was damaged, and now they are desensitized to certain things and their whole neurological system is off. No, they're regular, they have no birth defects, but something's still wrong with them. The way they carry themselves, the way they move, the kind of decisions that they make, the things that they say, the things that they think are okay versus the things that they think are wrong, it's off. It contradicts the Qur'an and Sunnah. The understanding of Islam is off. When it comes to the kuffar, their creed is fasid. Their creed is fasid. Aqidatuhum fasida. Their creed is filthy. It's messed up, and it destroys everything about them. People who don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're not going to know that only Allah can remove the coronavirus or any other virus or any other disease or any other pathogen. People who don't believe in Allah, they don't understand the quwwah and the power. All of it belongs to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala alone. People who don't believe that, they're not going to turn to Allah. They're not going to repent. People who don't believe in al-hisab, that there's going to be a reckoning, that you will be rewarded or punished for the things that you do in this dunya, for what you believed in this dunya. The people who don't believe that, those people are not going to blame themselves for the affliction that we are all being affected by, either directly or indirectly. Those people who don't believe that, they're not going to ponder and prepare themselves and say, subhanallah, look at what a small, right, piece of bacteria, microscopic droplet, look at the fitna that it caused by the permission of Allah. Imagine Yawm al-Qiyamah. Imagine the fitna of life and death, the fitna of the grave. People don't believe in that. There's no, they have their response to a calamity, to affliction, to a trial, a tribulation, a test is not going to be the same like the person whose aqeedah is sahiha, salima, qawiyya, thabita. If it's firm, if it's pure, if it's unadulterated and undistorted, that person is on that kind of methodology or that kind of belief system. He's going to look at things differently. So this book he wrote deals with those issues that help to keep the Muslim grounded. So he said, Fandur rahimakallah. No, pay attention, examine, right? Examine. May Allah have mercy on you. Examine everything that you hear, all the speech that the people in your time are using, all the speech that you hear from the people of your time specifically, everybody in general, but the people in your time specifically. Now you have to understand, this is within a few hundred years after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah made this statement. Okay, this is within 200 years of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's death, when Imam al-Barbahari made this statement. Okay, this is approximately 1200 years ago, around, give or take. All right, when Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah ta'ala made this statement. So for him to be so concerned about the state of the Muslims at that time and the kind of da'wah that was being given at that time, the ideology that was spreading at that time, for him to be concerned, barakallahu fikum, so concerned that when he advised the readers of this book, he said, examine the speech of everyone that you hear, specifically in your time. Now, it could be applicable, all these hundreds of years later. But he had something on his mind when he wrote that. When he taught this, there was something on his mind. Something prompted him. What he knew from the Qur'an, what he knew from the Sunnah, and what he saw, what he examined, what he saw the people falling into in his time, worried him and bothered him so much so that this was a piece of advice that he put in the beginning, the early part of his book, so the Muslim can safeguard his or herself from this kind of fitna. He said, Fandur rahimakallah. We're saying to the sisters, Fanduri rahimakillah. Pay attention, my sister. May Allah have mercy on you. Kulla man sami'ti kalamahu min ahli zamaniki khasa. Examine, oh my sister. All right? We're going to feminize the speech. Examine, oh my sister, everyone whose speech that you hear in your time specifically. And again, the original text, we read it. We're not trying to change the metan of the sheikh. You're trying to customize it so that the women can really understand that this your place in understanding this advice and taking this advice. He said, فَلَا تَعْجَلَنَّ. Do not get involved. Do not, ya ukhti fillah. La ta'jali. Do not let yourself get involved or hasten to anybody's speech. وَلَا تَدْخُلِي. Do not go and into yourself and allow yourself to indulge in anybody's speech or any programs, any lectures, any podiums, any advice, commandments. Do not let anyone come to you with anything. I don't care what the organization is. I don't care who the imam is, who the sheikh is, who your teacher is. Do not hasten and put yourself in anything. Do not enter into anything from anybody. Don't take any speech from anybody. Don't take any direction from anybody. Hatta, until the sheikh said, tas'ala wa tandura. Hatta tas'ali wa tanduri. Until you, my sister, right? Until you, my sister, ask, until you ask and you examine. هل تكلم فيه أحد من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم? Did any of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talk about this issue? How did they understand this issue? This is advice. Now, some might say, okay, this is a sheikh, this is a person. Where's his proof? Allah said in the Qur'an, and amanu bimithli ma amantum bihi faqad ihtadaw. We mentioned this ayah last class. And if they believe like you believe, O Muhammad, if their creed and their understanding of Islam is like you, bimithli ma amantum. Allah was addressing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba. If they believe, this ayah, Surah Al-Baqarah, this ayah came down after the Hijrah. If you, O Muhammad, and your companions, if they believe like you, faqad ihtadaw, then they're guided. وَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّمَا هُمْ فِي الشِّقَاقِ. If they turn away, they're the ones with the problem. They're the ones who are astray. They're the ones who have the issue. They're the ones in the schism. It's not you. So Allah already linked the correctness of our belief system to theirs, to how we understand Islam, our creed, the way we approach the Qur'an and Sunnah. It has to be like this. وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. Anybody who contradicts, opposes the messenger after the right way has been shown clearly to him or her, and chooses a way other than the way of the believers. This goes for male and female. Allah said, we will make that person become attached to what they chose, make them covet it and love it. And then we'll throw them in the fire, what an evil place to wind up and to dwell for eternity, or for however long you dwell in that fire. So Allah Ta'ala already attached our salvation to those companions, meaning we have to be on Islam like them. We have to understand this deen, the Qur'an, the Sunnah, like they understood it. You can't have your own understanding. You don't have that luxury. You do not have that luxury. This is not a religion that you customized. This is not the religion that your sheikh customized. This religion is the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? When the sheikh made the statement, he said, don't get involved in anything. Don't hasten. Don't get all excited and emotional because Fulan is nice with his speech, because he knows how to talk, because he has fasl al-khitab, because his diction and the way his presentation is so professional. He speaks so clearly. He's so passionate. Because women, my sister, you get moved by emotion. This is why some of the sisters, you can marry a deadbeat. Because unfortunately, the women, in a lot of cases, right, throughout the recent Western history, they meet, sometimes women are not even Muslim. All right, and somebody comes, this new guy, he's a Muslim, but he's talking to this girl. He meet her somewhere, Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever he's at. You know what I mean? So one of these places, one of these fast food restaurants or a library or somewhere, he meets her somewhere. And he starts to talk to her, and well, you're Muslim. They never seen anybody like you, but the kuffar never seen anybody like you before. Your cleanliness, your manners, the way you speak, you have some form of haya. It's not really like what it's supposed to be if you're talking to the girl in a restaurant, but it's at least a drop. It's not like the kuffar, man. So she sees the difference in you. Nobody knows you. Your name is not all over the street for being a womanizer, misogynist, and all these things. So you're attractive to her. You know that. And some of the brothers use that. And this is one of the things that has compromised our integrity, because men lower themselves to this kind of behavior. And now the women have no more respect for us like they're supposed to. I'm not gonna say no more, but they don't respect us like they're supposed to. They look at us like we, like wolves, so staring at sheep, right? That's how they look. Some women, they just, some of the behavior that some of the brothers have displayed have caused some of the women to lose respect for us. But that's another topic. So the brother there now, he's in these places talking to these non-Muslim girls, or these girls who don't really understand Islam properly, maybe a new Muslimah, and now he's talking to her, and he's, speaking to her the way the way she wants to be spoken to, and he's moving her in the way he wants to move her, and her emotions gets the best of her, and now she's all over the place because she shouldn't be talking to him in the first place. But a lot of times these women are not Muslim women, so whatever he tells her, she thinks is okay. So he gives her all of these ideas, and she accepts Islam, but then he marries her, and she realizes that she married a fool. Yeah, he's a Muslim, he's our brother, but he's a fool. Okay, he doesn't understand his religion, and he's not handling his affair properly. That is not how you go find a wife. All right, but people are young, people are inexperienced, men make mistakes. Many brothers have done it. We evolve, we get better as a community. So we're not picking on anybody, but we just want to use that as an example to show the women how you are influenced by your emotions. And there's nothing wrong with that. That same place, that same thing that a man can use to manipulate you is the same part of you that makes us love you all so much. That's what makes you so special. That emotion, your emotionality, and the way your disposition is emotionally is the thing that one of the many things that separates you from men. And this is why we love you. And this is why we feel about you the way that we do. Okay, so it's not a bad thing, but it's something, barakallahu fi kunna, that you have to be aware of. Okay, so that same emotional disposition that you have is the same one that a public speaker who's upon falsehood knows how to tap into when he's giving you da'wah. He knows exactly what to say. He knows how to say it, what tones to use in his voice, what topics to choose that will lure you in. He knows exactly what to say. Okay? He knows exactly how to move, how to carry himself. And don't let it be a video or something on stage when you can see him. He knows what to wear, how to sit, exactly how to lure you in. You have to be careful, because many of the sisters, unfortunately, have been affected and influenced by people who their understanding of Islam is incorrect. And for those people who are hypersensitive and oversensitive or overly sensitive, and they don't want to hear this kind of talk, they don't want to hear this negativity. Why are you criticizing people? Why are you judging people? Why are you speaking about people? It's Ramadan. We're supposed to be talking about beautiful things. I thought I was going to get motivated. Now you're talking about, that is not how our religion works. Our religion has a nafi wal ithbat. It has al wala wal bara. It has al hubbu fillah wal bughdu fillah. It is not the way you want it. We negate everything that's worshipped besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We negate it. We hate it. We do not accept it. We hate bid'ah. We do not accept it. Doesn't make a difference who it comes from. We do not intermingle with people of dalala. If anybody is trying to take the Qur'an and the Sunnah out of context, we keep our distance from them. We keep our distance from them. That's a crime. That is a crime. Anything that's harmful, you stay away from. You don't believe me? Go outside and watch how many people got masks on. Do a check. Call the people and watch how many people are spending the majority of their time in the home. If you know someone that's been affected by COVID and they quarantine themselves, you don't even want to walk past the front of the house. So you're telling me you don't stay away from something you believe is harmful? You do. But the problem is we don't understand. We can't conceptualize that there are people who are Muslim, who have some nice qualities, but their innovation is so bad and so corrupted that it obligates us. It necessitates us to stay away from them. The same way it could be a relative, it could be a parent, it could be a child. If they're afflicted with this affliction like we're dealing with right now, this COVID, could be the person you love, your soulmate, right? Your other half, whatever word you want to use, your significant other, whatever word you want to use, qurratu aynik, whatever phrase you want to use. If you know that they've been affected, you're gonna keep yourself in you're gonna keep them in quarantine, and you're gonna stay as far away from them as possible until it's safe to go around them. It has nothing to do with them. You love them to death, but the situation is harmful, and this is why the Sheikh is saying, do not hasten and just enter into a situation. Don't let someone come to you and start to teach you Islam and tell you this is Islam and that's how you got to believe, and you need to come to these gatherings so we can teach you more of this, that, and the third. Just because they're a Muslim, just because they have a degree, just because they speak well, just because they dress well, because they carry themselves well, because they're handsome, because they have good diction. That's not enough. Sheikh said, do not do that until you examine and you ask, did any of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talk about this? هل تكلم فيه أحد من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم? Did anybody from the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam talk about this issue? He said, ورضي الله عنهم أو أحد من العلماء, any of the ulama, did any of the tabi'een talk about this? What did they learn from the Sahaba? We got this whole thing about the hijab. The women unfortunately have revisited the Islamic dress code for the woman. They've revisited and revised it. And we don't mean it was revised in a way that was permissible. We mean that people have distorted the meaning of what a hijab is, what it is for a woman to cover herself. You'll see a woman with a niqab on and a tight abaya where you can see everything, all the contours of her body, and she'll be talking about some hijabi life, hijabi girl, hijabi wave, hijabi mood. You understand? What are you doing? But you know, we don't want to pick on the sister because it's the system. There's a system that's been put in place by Shaitan and those people who are with him to get the people to think differently and other than the way the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to think and their belief system. That Allah directly attached us and our salvation to their understanding of Islam. There's a movement to try to disconnect us from that so we can look at things from a different angle, from a different way, we take a different approach to Islam than the one that they took. And you can see that some of it is unfortunately working and affecting some of the people. Okay? Because some of the sisters have completely, their hijab to them is whatever they want it to be. Someone tell you it's a hijab is a state of mind. So it don't matter what I have on, it's a state of mind. Where in the world did you get that statement from? They say in the Qur'an, it says dress modestly. First of all, show me the word in the Qur'an, dressed. Show me the word modestly. What you may be able to show me is a translation of the meaning of the Qur'an, and the one who translated the meaning into the English language used the words dressed and used the word modestly. Don't say it's in the Qur'an. Say Allah says what translates to mean dress modestly. Say that. Then once you say that, now you have to be able to go to that ayah. This is how you approach hijab. And this conversation or this presentation is not about hijab. But we have to use this because this is one of the things everyone understands. It's not everyone knows exactly what I talk when I say hijab. Whether you have a clear understanding of what it is or a distorted understanding, it's not some topic that only some Muslims have heard about and others haven't. No, everybody knows hijab in general. They may not know exactly what it means in detail and how to do it, how to perform it, how to observe it, but they understand in general what it means. How many sisters have said, listen, okay, Allah has ordered me to wear the hijab, but where's the ayat that deal with hijab? And how did the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how did they learn what those ayat meant? How did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam explain it to them? When Allah commanded them to wear the hijab and to cover themselves, how did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam teach them to do that? How did he show his wives to go out in the community and show the women to do that? And then after he showed them how to do it and they observed it, what was their thought process? How did they view it? Was it something that was wajib? Was it mustahab? Was it mubah? Was it makruh? Was it haram? Because it has to fall into one of those five. There's no six for the planet Earth. There's five actions that doesn't make a difference from Adam until Allah and heavens to earth. The human being's actions fall into five categories. Five. Even if you were to remove the terms away and say these terms were not used 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, it's still going to, the concept existed. There are things that Allah is obligated, things that Allah wants you to do. If you do, you get rewarded for. Things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made it so there's no reward and no sin. It's just in the middle, action that's okay, doesn't have any merit, any sin. It's just, you just a human being scratching your leg. No sin, no reward. You just regular. There are things that are disliked and discouraged. Things that if you do them, there's no sin on you. But if you stay away from them because you love and fear Allah too much to do them, and you know that Allah would rather you stay away, but out of His mercy, He's not going to punish you if you do, and you stay away, there's reward for that. And there's things that if you do, there is a direct sin upon you. No matter what you do, your actions fall into five categories. And these five categories have been completed and organized and structured in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? So when you think about hijab, you have to understand what it is, not what your sheikh or this book that you picked up somewhere or this website that you read or a conference you went to people you don't even know them. Essentially, you don't know them. They came on YouTube, they spoke nice, they worked your emotions over, and now you're addicted. You got to go to that conference every single year. You're an avid supporter. You got the bumper sticker, the pens, that's your people. You don't even know anything about it. If I ask you, what is that person's creed? What does he say about the Qur'an? Does he believe it's created? Does he believe it's Allah's speech? Does he believe that you can tell me what Ramadan is 5 years from now? Or does he follow the method that Allah revealed in the Qur'an? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Sumu, make your fast when you see the ru'ya, liru'yatihi. When you see that moon, when you see that hilal, letting you know that the month of Ramadan is in, that's when you start fasting. And you don't break it until you see the moon of the following month come in. Until those two moons are sighted, you do not break. And the only exception to the rule is if you don't sight the moon. If you don't sight the moon, then you make your month 30 days. You make Sha'ban 30 days, and then you fast the following day. You don't have Eid until you see the moon, and if you don't see the moon, then you make Ramadan 30 days, and the following day is going to be Eid. The first after Sha'ban, the first day of Ramadan, comes either by seeing the moon or by completing 30 days. The end of Ramadan means the Eid does not come until you see that moon. If you don't see the moon, you make Ramadan 30 days. That is the only method the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ever taught his companions. There is nothing else. Nothing else. The companions of radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, they didn't teach the tabi'een anything else. And the tabi'een didn't teach the atba'u tabi'een anything else. And Ahl Sunnah does not know anything else and had not known anything else all throughout time, and we still don't know anything else. So you tell me now, if I were to ask you that the organization that you love and support and covet so much, how do they go with Ramadan? We're not talking about local sighting, outside of the country sighting. We're not, local, foreign, domestic sighting, regional, global. That's not what we're talking about. That's an entirely different issue, a very respected issue, an issue that people can sit down and discuss and even debate scholastically with text, proofs, evidence. We have no problem with that issue. We're talking about somebody told you that scientifically, based off of math and science, they can tell you when Ramadan is going to be 3 years from now, as if Allah revealed to them what He's going to do with the moon in a couple of years, next year, tomorrow. Allah split the moon. He split it, right? Cracked it, split it in half. You think they were able to predict that? Could they have saw that coming? Absolutely not. The moon belongs to Allah. It's His moon. And the way He wants you to sight it, the way He wants you to know when the next month comes in, it's up to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. He legislated what you do. with your fast, with your Ramadan, with your Sha'ban, and with that moon that he created. You don't have any option. You have nothing to say. Your job is to submit. Now, if we were to ask some of the people, these organizations you love, you covet, and you follow, how did they come into Ramadan? What did they say about Ramadan? Were they able to tell you 5 years ago that Ramadan is going to be on this day? And that, are they claiming now that they can tell you what Ramadan is going to be next year, 5 years, 10 years from now? If that's your organization, we have a problem. We have a problem. And them, just like anybody else, the advice of a Sheikh, Imam al-Barbahari, rahimahullah, is do not hasten, do not become so passionate that you rush and get involved and just soak it all up and just take it all in and follow it religiously. This is the truth. This is how I'm living my life. This is the decisions I'm going to make. Sheikh said, don't do any of that. Do not add that to your repertoire. Don't make that part of who you are. Until when? He said, Hatta tandura wa tas'al. Ya ukhti fillah. Hatta tanduri wa tas'uli. Until you examine and ask, did any of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talk about that? Did any of the ulama from Ahl Sunnah, khasatan min as-salaf, from those first a few generations of Muslims, did any of them talk about that? He said, فَإِنْ أَصَبْتَ فِيهِ أَثَرًا. Once you find an athar from them, if you happen in your research, when you're trying to follow these things up, these people are saying things, they're teaching things, you're seeing things on YouTube, people are sending you text message, information is coming from all different types of places. Before you get involved, you stop and you research. Did the companions hijab thing? Did the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did they talk about the hijab? Did they speak about the hijab? Did they speak about plural marriage? Was this an issue in their time? Did they discuss it? Did they speak about halal food? What food can be eaten? What food did they? How did they? When they came to the Book of Allah? How did they understand these ayat? When they came to Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how did they understand these narrations that deal with these topics? These discussions came up. Did any of them speak about it? Is there any clarification? Do we have any text showing what they learned from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? When it comes to things like women's rights, is there any evidence from the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where they discussed this issue amongst themselves? Did they teach it to the tabi'een? How did they contextualize to the tabi'een? What is the issue then? How did they understand women's rights? When it comes to children and marriage and divorce and who gets the children, how did the Sahaba learn from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding this issue? Who gets the children? When it comes to Ramadan, how's Ramadan spent? Is it spent the way we want it? Do we do what we do? Should we get the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam learn directly from him, sallallahu wa sallamu alayhi, how to enter Ramadan and spend Ramadan and what should be done in Ramadan? He said, once you examine this, فَإِنْ أَصَبْتَ فِيهِ أَثَرًا, you examine it and you find a narration from them. أَثَرًا عَنْهُمْ فَتَمَسَّكْ بِهِ يَا أُخْتِ فِي اللَّهِ فَإِنْ أَصَبْتَ فِيهِ أَثَرًا أو فَإِنْ أَصَبْتِ فِيهِ أَثَرًا عَنْهُمْ فَتَمَسَّكِي بِهِ يَا أُخْتِ فِي اللَّهِ. If you find a narration from them, you hold on to it, oh my sister. You hold on to it. You don't let it go. You don't drop the position of Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali radiallahu anhum for your organization that you follow. You don't let somebody ahead of an organization because you're an enrolled member and you've been a member since 2011. That doesn't mean anything. If the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam learned otherwise from the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you drop whatever the organization is telling you. You're not dropping it for another sheikh of yours because he's your sheikh, because he's from your country. You're dropping it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about them, radiyallahu anhu wa radu an. Allah is pleased with them. He's pleased with them. And they're pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said he's pleased with them. You're dropping it because you want to be like, you want to imitate, you want to emulate and follow and be connected to people that Allah is pleased with. He said, وَلَا تُجَاوِزْهُ لِشَيْءٍ يَا أُخْتِ فِي اللَّهِ وَلَا تُجَاوِزِيهِ لِشَيْءٍ. You do not put anything aside or let anything supersede or outdo or hold anything in a higher esteem than what you learn from the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You don't take their statements and put it to the back. When somebody advises you and tells you, ya ukhti, ya tayyiba, listen, this concept that you have, men and women are equal, and that everybody has the exact same rights. I don't see why men have to pray, in the front. We should be praying foot to foot, and I should be leading the salah sometime. Women with all of that foolishness. And wallahi, our sisters, we love you all. We have to be honest with you. Shaitan is a master at deceiving people. He is the one who yulabbisu nas. Okay, he has talbis. He knows exactly how to trick you. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya bani Adam, la yaftinannakum ash-shaytan kama akhraja abawaykum min al-jannah. O sons and daughters of Adam. Allah said, O sons and daughters, Ya bani Adam, la yaftinannakum ash-shaytan. So Allah said, O bani Adam, do not let shaitan be a fitna for you. Don't let him come and trick you and deceive you. Kama akhraja abawaykum min al-jannah. The way he got your parents to be kicked out of paradise. He tricked them. He knew them, he studied them and examined them and knew exactly how to affect them and knew exactly how to get them to do something that would harm them. He knew exactly what to do to get them to harm themselves. Ya ukhti fillah, don't let these people come to you with that nonsense and have you thinking this nonsense. Listen, if you look at the hip-hop community, let's use that for example, because that's big. People can act like they don't know what I'm talking about while I'm using this example if they want to, but everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about, especially the youth who have, I'm not going to say they're our primary concern, but they have a specific, unique concern, right? We have a specific and unique concern from them. So we have to address them. If you look at the hip hop community, they've been tricked to glorify criminal behavior, materialism and materialistic things, drugs, alcohol, the mistreatment of women, all of those things. This is what this whole album, they glorify taking painkillers and muscle relaxers and all kind of pills and the ingredients that they use and when they mix heroin. What they do all day long is write music, a lot of them, most of them, about taking drugs that are going to destroy them. Yeah, not every single one of them does that. But the ones who the record labels gravitate towards the most are the ones who are rapping and glorifying things that are destroying the human being. You'll have those same exact people, male and female, go to a youth group and advise all the kids in that room after they just made an album last week about taking pills and drugs and alcohol. They'll go right to that group and tell everybody, yeah, drugs is a bad thing. I lost some family members to drugs. Do not take drugs, y'all. Leave and go right to the studio and make a whole album about taking drugs. And they don't even see anything wrong with what they're doing. Shaitan is a master. You'll have a mother will buy her daughter tickets to go to a concert, right? Where that's all they're going to talk about in the entire concert, and still turn around and tell their daughter, you better stay away from drugs. I don't want you around any drugs. Shaitan is a master at getting people to forget themselves. He's a master at getting people to think that something that doesn't make any sense makes sense. That something that destroys human beings is actually a benefit. He actually has tricked the men into thinking that other men are more desirable than women. He's tricked them. You're not born like, there's no way you can tell me that. Medically, he tricked the people into thinking that there's only one group of doctors in the world, and they're all in unanimous agreement that this is the case with the people who have that
mental ailment. That this is who they are by disposition. They were born like this. There's been no deviation. They're just as normal as a person who's heterosexual. They'll trick you into believing this is not even a unanimous agreement amongst the ulama of the kuffar, the atibba, the doctors who study psychology. They are in complete disagreement about that theory. Complete. Up until just recently, it was registered in the home as a mental illness, but he's a master at tricking people into thinking that this is normal. So much so that the Muslims have started to accept it, as opposed to people looking at it as a mental illness, because that's what it is. He's tricked the people into thinking otherwise. And we're not trying to be rude or disrespectful or nasty. Anybody struggling with anything, it's a mental illness, just like any other mental illness. But Shaitan has tricked everybody into thinking this is the way. So much so that now people who don't even have that kind of mental illness are forcing that mental illness on themselves because it's trendy. That's the same one that has you thinking that you and your husband are supposed to be treated exactly alike. 150%. You are like him, he's like you, and there's no status, nobody has any responsibilities. He can stay home and take care of the children, just like you can stay home and take care of the children. The same thing. You can go to work all day, he can go to work all day. You can pay the bills, he can pay the bills. Same thing. Same thing. This is nonsense. It's from Shaitan. Do not take it lightly. Do not think that this is something that's not from Shaitan. Do not let Shaitan trick you into thinking that you're just evolving, right? That you are, as women, you're evolving and you're developing and you're growing past your old ways. La yakhtifillah. La abad. Abadan. Wallahi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has elevated you with Islam. He's elevated you with motherhood. Okay? He's elevated you with motherhood. You don't let somebody come and tell you, try to diminish something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made great. When you look back at the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and see their views on women's rights and their views on what a woman should be, what they learned from the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who received revelation from Allah. They learned that the best place for the woman is in her home. It doesn't mean she can't go outside. It means the best place for her is her home, because she can, it protects her modesty. She's needed in the home so much. When she's not there, the home is in disarray. And if the home is in disarray, the father will be in disarray. And if he's in disarray, then the family's going to be in disarray. And if the family's in disarray, then the neighborhood is going to be in disarray. And if the neighborhood starts to become disarray, that affects the city, the state, and the entire world. So your job is to make sure that where it begins, from the womb to the bedroom, to the living room, to the kitchen, all of those things are intact. Because if anything goes wrong there, it's going to affect the rest of the planet. All the way up to the leaders of the world will get affected by what goes on in your living room, what goes on in your home. Shaitan doesn't want you to see your worth. He doesn't want you to think, okay, you're in the kitchen. Think about this. Mad because you got to cook. It's Ramadan and you've been cooking all day. Now, you're not even thinking about the fact that every morsel, every crumb of food that person eats, every single beverage that they drink, that you partook in, is going to be a reward for you. Just the fact that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Allah fi auni al-abd ma kana al-abd fi auni akhi." Allah is in service to the slave, in support of the slave. Just as long as the slave is in support and service to his brother or his sister. Your husband can't get up and cook that food that you can get up and cook. Your babies can't cook their food. They can't take care of the house like you. Every second you spend trying to tend to your husband and tend to your children, because nobody else can do it. That's your job. That's your wazifa. How in the world do you want to do something else? Because once you leave the home, once you no longer are interested in making sure that your husband has the nourishment and your children has the nourishment that they need, and that your home has the cleanliness and the structure, right, that suits a Muslim, that it's clean when your husband prays, he makes sujood on a clean floor, so it increases his khushu'. He couldn't have did that. not work and run around and take care of business and do the things he has to do outside and come home and make sure your house is clean? Oh, I get it. You're supposed to be working because those women that stay at home and, those aren't, those the women of old and they've been, left behind, and we don't want to do that. We're evolving. Right. And the men are evolving too. And that's why they like other men. And the women are evolving too, I guess. And that's why they like women. And they don't want to have children. I guess that's why they're evolving, right? That's why pedophiles think that it's okay to write books about their attraction to children, right? And that's why some people actually publish the books, because we're evolving, I guess, right? You gotta be kidding me. Yakhtifillah. Don't let these people come to you. Anytime somebody come to you with something, anytime somebody come to you with anything, any idea, Muslim, non-Muslim, anybody come to you with any ideas, you run it back through how the companions of the Prophet ﷺ understood it. But specifically in your religion, you run it through them. You see what they understood, what was their view of it. If we do that, our separations and our differing will go away. Let's look at this moon thing. If everybody just says, listen, okay, you say it's calculation, bro. We say it's that it has to be cited, or that we have to make the month 30 days. Play it, no problem. We don't want to fight over this, right? You my brother, my sister, let's not get into a fight over this. Let's just go look and see how the Sahaba understood it. Once we go back and we can't find anything to support your view, then yeah, you're done. You have to roll with me. If we go back and I can't find any of them supporting my view, they don't have no ayat, no hadith was explained and put in that context by them to support my view, then I'm out. I gotta follow you. I gotta ride with you. I have to support you. I have to turn and accept your opinion. You're right. But we can't just keep saying things like we're going to agree to disagree and we're all brothers and one sisters. Somebody's wrong. In some cases, both people can be right. Both people can be right in some cases. One person gonna be make tamattu', the one other person gonna make ifrad. There's more than one way to make hajj. There's more than one way. Sometimes a person gonna make the qunut out loud. Other time the person gonna make the qunut quietly. Sometimes the person makes the qunut. Sometimes the person doesn't make the qunut. Sometimes the person make qiyam al-layl out loud. Sometimes he's making it in a low tone. La bas. But when it comes to sighting the moon, when it comes to hijab, ya akhti fillah, nobody can say some of us are going to wear pants and some of us are going to not wear pants. When it comes to the position of the woman in Islam, nobody can say, well, some of us says that the woman, the best place for her is the home. Another person say, well, the best place for her is corporate America. The best place for her is being this or being that. Somebody's going to come and say the best place for her is to be separated from men. Another person say, well, the best place for her is intermingling. That's not going to happen. Nobody's going to come with an aqeedah issue. And somebody said, where's Allah? And one person says, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above his throne. He described to us in the Qur'an where he is. Ar-Rahman al-Arsh istawa. Allah istawa above his throne. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tested the slave girl, where's Allah? She clearly said Allah is above the sky. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted her statement, was pleased with her statement. That's how we know where Allah is, period. Another person can't come and say, no, Allah is everywhere. We say we agree to disagree. That's a problem. That's a problem. Sheikh said, you don't choose anything. وَلَا تَخْتَرْ عَلَيْهِ شَيْئًا. You don't choose anything over the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَتَسْقُطَ فِي النَّارِ. And as a result of it, wind up living a life. Don't choose anything above the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as a result of it, as a result of your deviation of their lifestyle and their methodology and understanding, you wind up falling in the fire. We want to mention a very small piece of what Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan Hafidhahullah ta'ala mentioned, and then we're done, inshallah. Sheikh said, what Imam al-Barbahari meant by this is, لا تستعجل فيما تسمع من الناس خصوصا عند تأخر الزمان. Do not hasten when you hear things from people, specifically in the later times. وكثرة من يتكلم ويفتي وينتصب للعلم والقول. There's a lot of people during the time when there's a lot of people that speak and a lot of people that give Islamic verdicts, and a lot of people who attribute themselves to knowledge and to statement. وخصوصا لما جدت وسائل الإعلام وصار كل يهذو ويتكلم باسم العلم وباسم الدين. Specifically due to the fact that international and global and national communication and connection is widespread. People are able to communicate and share ideas and concepts a lot better now than they've ever been because of our technology and our ability to communicate with one another. So now, because of that, you find that everybody is talking and everybody is talking, speaking in the name of knowledge. People are making a million videos. Every time you turn around, there's a million people on YouTube and all these other platforms speaking and giving Islamic advice. People who have no knowledge whatsoever. When I mean no knowledge, I mean no knowledge whatsoever. They can't even read the first page of Medina Book 1. And you're making a YouTube video about Islam. A YouTube video about Islam. You haven't even dedicated a half hour a day, 45 minutes a day for a year, for 2 years to learning the language of the Qur'an. Not for da'wah, just so that you can get close to Allah. And you have a YouTube channel. And again, we're not saying that people shouldn't have channels and they shouldn't be doing things to benefit, but you have to know your level. There are people getting involved. I saw a brother, I'm telling you, I know the brother personally. He is probably one of the least qualified people walking on the face of the earth to speak about anything. He up there, huge Facebook, live, talking. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I could not believe somebody sent me this link. I didn't even know what to do. I felt like passing out. I couldn't believe that it has come to this. But that's what it is. We have all of this technology. People are sitting home. They got camera phones. They got all of this. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to speak. Everybody wants hits and views. And this is the problem that we have now. The Sheikh said, حتى أهل الضلال والفرق الضالة والمحرفة صاروا يتكلمون باسم الدين الآن في الفضائيات. You have people who are trying to collect Islamic studies, or they're using space travel or time travel and astronautics and things like this. They're using that some kind of way and intertwining it with Islamic studies. Now, we're not saying that you don't look at Allah's creation and marvel over the creation of Allah. But when you start to take these things and, go transgress the boundaries and go past the limits and talk about things scientifically and connect certain things in the Qur'an that should not be connected and give meanings to certain ayat scientifically that should not be given, we have a problem. When you start to deny the ayat of the Qur'an and say what's impossible and what's possible scientifically, and the Qur'an can't mean this because scientifically we have found that blah, 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 and scientists say blah, blah, blah. So now this ayat cannot be. When you start to have that kind of understanding, this is a problem. He said, فَالْخَطَرُ عَظِيمٌ جِدًّا. Shaykh Fawzan, Hafidullah, he said, the danger is tremendous. فَعَلَيْكَ أَيُّهَا الْمُسْلِمُ وَطَالِبُ الْعِلْمِ. فعليك أيتها المسلمة وطالبة العلم بالذات أن تتثبت يا أختي في الله، أن تتثبتي ولا تستعجل يا أختي في الله، ولا تستعجلي مع كل ما تسمع. You have to, O Muslim man, O Muslim woman, O Muslim student of knowledge from the men and Muslim student of knowledge from the women, you have to personally be very, very careful that you do not hasten and allow yourself to just go with whatever the people are doing. You have to learn and study and examine. Stick close to the people of the Sunnah. Stick close to the people of the Sunnah. We're not saying that you have to become a fanatic and you start to mistreat the other Muslims who may not understand things, or some of these organizations who they have some incorrect approaches to certain aspects of the religion. We don't mistreat people, but you cannot misunderstand or mix up or confuse good manners and good behavior with compromising your principles. We are not rude people. We are not disrespectful people. That's not what we do. That is against our methodology. It's against our religion. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Innama bu'ithtu li'utimma makarim al-akhlaq." The main reason why Allah sent me is so that I can show the people how to perfect their character, starting with the character and the way the slave is supposed to be with his Lord, and then after that to his creation, from the Anbiya and the Rusul alayhi salatu salam, and the people in society and so on and so forth, how we interact with them, what kind of character we have. We are not people of filthy character. We are not people who are rude. That is not from our religion. But at the very same time, barakallahu feek, we are not people who compromise our principles. As we enter to Ramadan, we have to bear these things into mind. That everybody and everything that we hear, all the lectures that may be going on, all of this streaming that's taking place, okay, or these YouTube live lectures and Spreaker lectures and Mixler and whatever else people are using, Periscope, I believe it's called, and all these other things that people are using. Just do not think because the person is a Muslim, because he studied here or he graduated here, that everything is okay. You have a responsibility, because these concepts that people are feeding us, many of us, they're fasida. They're not good. And only thing you have to do is you have to measure yourself, measure these statements and these ideas and these concepts against the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Take it back to the Sahaba radwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. See how they understood it. There's an entire ocean of examples of how they understood the Qur'an and Sunnah. Why? Because they learned directly from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Shaykh, he said, Hafidhahullah ta'ala, he said, عليك بالتثبت ومعرفة من الذي قال هذا. You have to verify things, and you have to know who is it that said that, who is this person? ومن أين جاء هذا الفكر? Where did this idea come from? He's telling you this, he's telling you that, you're learning this, you're learning that. Where did you get that from? Who told you that? Where'd you get that information from? ثم ما هي مستنداته? What is his what is a person, what is his level of trustworthiness? He's somebody that can be trusted. He's somebody who should be taking knowledge from. Is he a trustworthy person? Does he distort the Quran and Sunnah? Does he lie? وَأَدِلَّتُهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ. What's the proof and the evidence? You're running around, you have a million things to say. You've taken this position. We are adopting principles. We're taking things on as religious principles, and we don't even know not only who said it, we don't know the dalil that he used. Somebody will come and tell their wife, look, you got to obey me. He's right. But what's his dalil? What's his dalil? Because you just have to. The husbands, brothers, we're going to get on you guys another day, because we're not getting on the sisters. You're trying to get the sisters to see their worth. Don't let sisters, wallahi, don't let nobody come to you and just tell you that you have to do something just because they said so. Don't let them play you like that. And we're not talking about your husbands. You obey your husband, because that's how you get into Jannah. Obedience to your husband is not because he's cute, because he works out, because he makes you laugh. Obedience to your husband is because Allah obligated that upon you. That's an act of worship. You don't obey him because he bought you flowers, because he took you to dinner, or because, he's your best friend. You obey him because Allah has obligated you to. One of the benefits of that is even when he gets on your nerves, because this is unfortunately common, even when he gets on your nerves, you still obey because it's for Allah. It's not for him. It's for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? If it was for him, it'd be a different conversation. It's for Allah. And Allah's rights can't be compromised. His obedience can't be compromised. Cannot be compromised. Nah. But we're talking about a gym. Somebody call you. You go to a gathering and some brothers pray on the speaker prays on your weakness and your disposition and on the fact that he knows how to unlock certain emotions by using a tone and by speaking a particular way, but there's no dalil. He's telling you all kinds of crazy things. All kinds of crazy things, encouraging you. And we're not saying the women shouldn't get educated. Wallahi, that's not what we're saying. We think it's beautiful when women get educated. Okay, nobody's saying that. As long as nothing religious is being compromised, we think that it's beautiful. We prefer for our women to be educated in anything that's going to benefit themselves, firstly and foremost, right? And then their families and the ummah. We are 150% in support of all of you with your education, businesses, anything that's being productive and good, provided it's not displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when these men sit around and try to, some of these lecturers and these speakers, and they're trying to motivate you to change and evolve into something that is in contradiction to the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what they saw to be successful, it's a problem. And don't let them disrespect you and think that you're so easily moved that they can just stand up on the stage or go on a YouTube channel or send you something in a tech group and say, this is what you should do. And you just go with it because it sounded nice. That's disrespectful. I'm not saying that the brothers intentionally disrespected you. I'm saying that when a person has views that are in contradiction to Qur'an and Sunnah and they expect other people to follow them, this is disrespect. This is disrespect because who are you to impose your views on other people? Who are you to come with your concepts and your ideas that can't be supported with textual proofs and evidences? See, when they're supported with textual proofs and evidences, they're not essentially your views. These are the views of our religion, the views that Allah revealed. But when somebody just wakes up and has an idea and wants to move people in a particular direction, and it's their views, morally, religiously, ethically, and you change your morals, your religious principles, your ethics, because this person said so, they had no respect for you in the first place. And unfortunately, you have now lost a portion of respect for yourself. No, you have to pay attention. The Sheikh said, what is his, how trustworthy is he? What's his evidence from the Qur'an and Sunnah? وَأَيْنَ تَعَلَّمَ صَاحِبُهُ? Where did the person learn? Who is his teachers? Where does he take his information from? What books is he reading from? وَعَمَّنْ أَخَذَ الْعِلْمِ? Who does he take knowledge from? فهذه أمور تحتاج إلى التثبت. These affairs you have to verify them. You have to get clarity. What's his manhaj? What is he calling to? Who's his ulama? خصوصا في هذا الزمان. The Sheikh says specifically in this time. فما كل قائل حتى ولو كان فصيحا وبليغا ويشقق الكلام ويأخذ بالإسماع أو يأخذ بالإسماع لا تغتر به حتى ترى مدى ما عنده من العلم والفقه. The Sheikh said it doesn't make a difference. You have to find out who this is. The Sheikh said it doesn't make a difference. It does not make a difference who the person is. كل قائل حتى ولو كان فصيحا. He said nobody, it don't make a difference who it is. If the person is fasih, if he is eloquent in his speech, and he has such beautiful balagha, he can move you with his words, right? So beautiful, so eloquent, such excellent diction. He's so articulate. The kind of speech, it can just grab you. Sheikh said, you don't let somebody come. لا تغتر به حتى ترى مدى ما عنده من العلم والفقه. You don't just let this person deceive you and snatch you and take your attention away until you know and you're clear what kind of knowledge this person has, what kind of understanding of the religion he has. فَرُبَّمَا يَكُونُ كَلَامُهُ قَلِيلًا لَكِنَّهُ فَقِيهٌ. He said a person may come with a little bit of speech, but he has ilm, he understands what he's saying. وَرُبَّمَا يَكُونُ كَلَامُهُ كَثِيرًا لَكِنَّهُ جَاهِلٌ لَيْسَ عِنْدَهُ شَيْءٌ مِنَ الْفِقْهِ. He said, or maybe the person may be ignoramus, but he has a lot of speech. He can razzle you, dazzle you, but he doesn't understand Islam. Does not understand Islam. بل عنده سحر الكلام حتى يغر الناس. The Sheikh said, rather, the person has سحر الكلام. He has magic speech. It's mystical. It puts you in a trance because he knows how to speak. And he does this with the intention of deceiving people. ويتظاهر بأنه عالم. He puts himself out there. It looks like he's a scholar. It looks like he has knowledge. وَبِأَنَّهُ فَاهِمٌ. It looks like he understands what he's talking about and he understands Islam. وَبِأَنَّهُ مُفَكِّرٌ. He looks like he's a person who has good ideas and he thinks about things. And he's a person of deep thought. وَنَحْوَ ذَلِكَ حَتَّى يَغُرَّ النَّاسِ. But it's only to deceive people. وَيَخْرُجَ بِهِمْ عَنِ الْحَقِّ. And he wants to leave the truth and pull them out. He himself wants to pull them away from the truth. He's away from it and he wants to pull them away from it. فَلَيْسَ الْعِبْرَةُ بِكَثْرَةِ الْكَلَامِ وَشَقْشِقَتِهِ. Knowledge or the benefit is not because somebody got a lot of speech and they're so articulate. بَلْ الْعِبْرَةُ بِمَا فِيهِ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ. Rather, the thing that you need to love about speech and be chasing is how much knowledge is in it, how much Qur'an, how much Sunnah, how much it is in accordance with that which the companions radiallahu anhum learned from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَا فِيهِ مِنَ التَّأْصِيلِ. And how much, where's this, what's its foundation? What's its foundation? He said, وَرُبَّ كَلَامٍ قَلِيلٍ مُؤَصَّلٍ يَكُونُ أَنْفَعْ بِكَثِيرٍ مِنْ كَلَامِ كَثِيرٍ. He said that it's possible that you may see that a small speech, somebody who doesn't speak all the time, they're not always lecturing. Every time you see them, they're speaking, just flooding everything with dawah. But when they do speak, it's founded in principles. You may find that those people who are not as famous, who don't have as many platforms, who don't flood with as much dawah, but their speech is founded with so many principles, is going to be more beneficial. The one who speaks all the time, always talking all the time. And he has all of this, the balagha and everything, most beautiful speech. It sounds so good, so articulate, but it doesn't have benefit in it. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts. We're finished for the evening. Bismillah, this completes our pre-Ramadan conference. There's a lot more we can say about the topic. These topics are very dear to us because we unfortunately have seen a lot of people get confused about Islam, and they remain confused, unfortunately, because there's a lot of articulate people out there, man. There's some people who are very, very articulate, and they're educated in certain things, okay? Whether it's public speaking or media persuasion or whatever it is. They're educated in certain things and they know how to present their topics. Some people are just salesmen naturally. They can sell you anything. They can get you to believe anything. And our sisters, unfortunately, are buying it. Many of them are buying it. And that is not to insult your intelligence. We have a lot of respect for you. We hold you in high esteem, barakallahu fi kunna. But the sad reality is that many of our women have fallen victim to a lot of these concepts. You can see it. You can just look at the ummah. You can look, you can see it. You can look at their speech, you can see it. They've been affected by a lot of things negatively. And we just want the women to understand that when something comes to you in your religion, you have to know how to process it. Don't just believe any and everything. If you can't, it may sound like this is complicated. How am I going to do this? Where am I even going to begin to search? How am I going to find? You have to have good companions. You have to be connected to tulab al-ilm, students of knowledge, and du'at who are connected to the scholars of Islam. And the students of knowledge and the du'at and the imams have a responsibility to be trustworthy, to be men of knowledge and men of information, men of the sunnah, men of integrity, men of good character. Okay, not that all you want to do is sit around and marry every woman that calls your phone or who needs you for help or try to take advantage or try to find which situation you can get in. You have to be a man of integrity. And we have to have our community set up in a way where when our sisters have that passion and that desire to run everything that they hear and everything that they're exposed to through the filtration system of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. See how they viewed it and how they understood it. We have to, barakallahu fikum, we have to, as imams and du'at and students of knowledge and administrative members, make sure that we have an environment and we have an institution, okay, globally, where our sisters, when they want to make sure that they're on that which is correct and they understand Islam properly, that it's available for them. You have to be a priority. It's been too long that women have been neglected. And the reality of it is, you'll find that they are, in a lot of cases, if not most, the most studious, the most diligent. A lot of times they have the time and the ability to do it. In certain, depending on their daily operations within their home or school or the home of their parents or whatever the case is, you'll find that the sisters, regardless of what, if you tell them they're going to have an Arabic class 2 hours a day, they're going to be committed. And the brothers may or may not come. Okay, you find that a lot of the online services in terms of knowledge that are available, the sisters are the ones who are participating the most. And unfortunately, the men have not really understood the value that women students of knowledge have. And I'm not saying every woman, I just mean in general. In my opinion, the men have not really understood it. And there's not enough institutions that have been developed and established for them where they can go and they can learn and be protected and they can develop and they can pursue this knowledge and take the advice of the sheikh and filter everything that they hear through the understanding of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because it's one thing to give people this advice, it's an entirely different thing to put a system in place where this advice can be applied. So inshallah ta'ala, we hope to continue as much da'wah and as much education as we possibly can throughout this month of Ramadan and beyond. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to do that. Inshallah ta'ala, daily throughout the month of Ramadan, we plan to have speakers and people to give us advice and to educate us on different things and cover different things specifically related to Siyam. We covered some things already as our speakers who came this week. We want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us with such brothers who took time out of their schedules and dedicated that 45 minutes or that hour, or however much time they spent educating us. We benefited tremendously. And inshallah, we'll have those brothers and more back throughout the month, inshallah, and present as much as we possibly can regarding those topics of Ramadan or other than Ramadan. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that easy for us and make us sincere. We hope that all of you have a beautiful Ramadan, and we hope that we pray and beg that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts all of our ibadah in this month and that He makes us sincere. As far as the tahajjud and the qiyam al-layl and what we normally do in the masjid, everybody's fully aware that those things, due to current circumstances, are closed right now. Even in Muslim countries, there are many places that are not observing the Taraweeh due to this pandemic. Okay, so as we advise your brothers and sisters throughout the week, you have your own responsibility. It's on you now. Okay, all of the Qur'an classes, you sisters who have big sons, maybe your husband is not able to do it, but you have big sons who are in the Qur'an program at the masjid here with us and other masajid who have memorized 5 juz, 5 ajza, or 10, or 15, or their hufad. It's time for them to step up and help their mother get into Jannah. Naam, you brothers who have been in the Qur'an class making muraja'ah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with something from the Qur'an to recite, it's time now. You sisters who have been on your own diligently studying the book of Allah, its recitation, it's your time now, barakallahu fi kunna, to stand up and pray. If no one else can do it, or if they're too tired, they're too busy, or if they're not, you go and you make your own time. You finish cooking your food, getting your family situated, tending to everyone the way they need to be tended to. You go put some time aside for your qiyam al-layl. You brothers, do not overburden your wives. She has a life outside of you and outside of her children. Yes, you are the cream of the crop in her life, right? Without a doubt. When it comes to her life, not too many things are more of a priority than her husband and her children. But if you really love your wife and you care about her and you care about what she needs, don't make it all about you. Okay? If you're not going to lead her because you're tired or you're exhausted or you're only going to pray with her, which we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we beg that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the strength and everything that we need, barakallahu fikum, so that we can get through it yani, in strength and with ease. But if for whatever reason you brothers don't have the ability, support your wives. Stay with your wife, hold her hand when she needs her hand held, but at the same time, leave her with some time for ibadah. Take the baby, take the kids, even for half an hour, 45 minutes, try to help out. Okay, we all in this together. And if we spend a month yani, being selfish and only focusing on what we want and what we need, then it's not going to come out as successful as we want. All right. So make sure the brothers and sisters asking that you guys work together. Parents work with the children. Children work with the parents. You have to turn your home kind of basically into your own personal masjid, because we don't have a masjid right now that we can go to other than our homes. We have to, really, it's a lot of work, right? But I'm sure all of you brothers and sisters, barakallahu fikum, will figure it out. All right. Jazakumullah khairan. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from us. هذا ما عندي وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.